In this week's installment, when he's not getting a southpaw on Brokeback Mountain, this giant actor is usually hanging around a roadhouse, reading his zodiac to find out about the day after tomorrow. His career has been far from swift, and it's nothing to scoff at. This is Jake Gyllenhaal, and tonight's Hollywood Swingers.
That professional and indulgent introduction means it's time for our favourite segment of the show, Hollywood Swingers, where we celebrate those Hollywood movie stars who have made a swing into music. This week it is, I think, heartthrob, legend, Jake Gyllenhaal.
He's been around a long time.
Oh, he's been around my whole life, it feels like. Jake Gyllenhaal, tell me about him, Paul.
Jacob...
Started in NYPD Blue?
No,
it's close.
Not quite yet.
Okay.
Jacob Benjamin Gyllenhaal. He was born the 19th of December 1980. It was a Friday in Los Angeles, California, to Oscar-nominated screenwriter mother Naomi Foner and director Stephen Gyllenhaal.
So Nepo baby.
Yeah, who had directed a number of films and television shows. We'll get into that a wee bit later. His elder sister is, of course, celebrated actress Maggie Gyllenhaal.
One of my favourites.
Descended from Swedish nobility, with Gyllenhaal the name that was bestowed to a cavalry officer by the Swedish Queen Christina in 1652.
So do we think that it's actually like Gyllenhaal?
I think it's Gyllenhaal, but I don't know. It's pronounced Gyllenhaal.
I know, but do you think like in its
It
original,
could have been
it's more
from
like a
Scandinavian,
Gyllenhaal?
but it's definitely a family of nobility. But the young Jake, he was obviously exposed to filmmaking from an early age due to his family ties.
It's kind of like when you're American and you've got that accent, you can get away and sneak past the class war, but really he should fall into the same category as like the Eddie Redmaynes and that of the world.
100%.
He's landed gentry.
And his acting debut was in 1991 in the comedy City Slickers, where he played the son of star Billy Crystal.
He was Billy Crystal's son in City Slickers.
Impressed with his performance in that movie, the producers of the 1992 Disney film The Mighty Ducks cast Jake Gyllenhaal as the lead kid Charlie, but his parents forbade him from doing the film.
Yes, because of that, we got Joshua Jackson, and I am grateful.
They told him he had to concentrate on school himself, and of course that's how Joshua Jackson became a thing.
Quack, quack.
In fact, his parents would let Gyllenhaal audition for roles over the subsequent years, but when he would actually win the parts, they wouldn't let him do it. I don't know, there's something not right about this. I think there's a wee bit of frish on there where he's like, my parents really looked after me, but there was other parts of it that they didn't really do very well.
I don't know, that it kind of feels like, you know, the way, because they are Scandi, and you know how like Scandi people just leave their wens out in the winter to like get hardy. That kind of feels like the emotional version.
You've got to toughen up.
You're not getting enough rejection, so I'm going to reject it for you.
It explains a lot about his wild eyiness.
Yeah.
Although, funnily enough, his dad would let Jake star in his movies, like A Dangerous Woman with his sister Maggie, or in a 1994 episode of Homicide: Life on the Street that his dad directed.
Right, okay.
Jake and his sister also starred on a couple of episodes of a Food Network cooking show called Molto Mario with their mum.
And Homicide: Life on the Street became Law and Order. They're in the same universe, aren't they?
I think so. I believe so.
Yeah, okay.
Once he graduated high school, though, the shackles were off. And despite going to university, he ditched that pretty soon to get right into acting. And his first role in his newfound freedom was the lead in the Joe Jackson drama October Sky. That made over $30 million at the box office. And strangely, it was quite possibly the thing that inspired Jeff Bezos to start his space company.
Wow.
It was a film about a kind of true story about these kids that want to like launch rockets.
Okay.
And Jeff Bezos saw this in like 1999, and it basically was the thing that was inspired him to start that Blue Orbit or whatever it's called.
Laura Dern was in it, and I love Laura Dern, but so was Chris Owen, who played the Shermanator in American Pie.
Oh yeah, there you go. 2001 saw the young actor take on his next roles to mixed results. His next film was the sci-fi thriller Donnie Darko.
Come on now.
It wasn't a big hit on the initial release, but it became a massive cult hit. I saw that in the pictures when it came out.
I mean, that's
Loved it. Thought it was great.
That's the film of our generation's Shawshank.
Yeah,
Like, that's our
fantastic
generation's
soundtrack,
Yeah.
and it even had its cover of the Tears for Fears song "Mad World."
that became number one for
hit
Christmas.
number one in the UK chart. We actually should just play that later.
Yeah, okay.
Right,
Yeah.
we have to play
No, we
that
have to
one.
play that.
Do we play Tears for Fears? No, we play the cover.
No, we played the cover, and I remember when those guys from that cover came into the Italian restaurant I used to work in.
Amazing.
Yeah,
The year did also, though, feature the universally panned comedy Bubble Boy,
loved it.
about a boy and a... You really liked that?
Oh, it was a remake of the John Travolta classic that was a remake of another classic. It's a film that's been remade so many times. I enjoy just the silliness of the boy in the
Well,
bubble.
It was about a boy in a bubble, but it burst at the box
Yeah.
office. 2002, barely over 20 years old, Jake Gyllenhaal starred opposite Jennifer Aniston in The Good Girl, which saw Gyllenhaal have to play love scenes with the older actress.
Loved it.
He described that, though, as torture at the time because he had a big crush on Jennifer Aniston from watching Friends growing up.
Yeah.
So imagine you, new on the scene, this brand new actor, someone that you've seen on telly for years, and you've then got to go in a film and play their lover. That's brave. That takes a lot to go on screen and do that. You don't think so?
I think brave is a bit of an overstatement of what it is.
But for what we're talking about,
Brave is like fighting fires, especially the sentient fires of Backdraft.
sneaky ones, yeah. 2004, Gyllenhaal almost replaced actor Tobey Maguire for Spider-Man 2 after Maguire claimed his back was too injured, although there were also unconfirmed rumours that there was some
Contract.
shenanigans with money going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
So they used Jake Gyllenhaal
To threaten.
to scare him. As soon as Tobey Maguire heard they might replace him, he was good to go. All right, my back's fine now.
Yeah.
Good to go. Instead, that year saw Jake star opposite Dennis Quaid, who played his dad in the sci-fi disaster film The Day After Tomorrow.
Come on, son.
That made
What a film.
big money at the box office.
Love films about weather. And I loved that
had
film.
a big load of weather and wolves.
Wolves, weather,
Ice.
the terrifying, the bit where the helicopters just freeze in midair. So scary.
It made over $500 million.
It was nature scary is so much better than any other kind of scary.
2005, Gyllenhaal again failed in an attempt to wear a big screen cape. He lost out to Christian Bale for Batman Begins.
Oh no.
But he would still have a stellar year in 2005, as well as the well-received war movie Jarhead. Saw that in the
Saw it in the
pictures.
pictures,
Very good. He starred with Gwyneth Paltrow and Anthony Hopkins in the drama Proof. The actor then shone as the love interest of Heath Ledger in the seminal drama Brokeback Mountain.
He just can't quit him.
That saw Gyllenhaal nominated for an Academy Award.
I really appreciate that he and Heath Ledger refused to kind of allow it to be made a punchline when they in their presence. I know that Brokeback Mountain did become a cultural punchline because it's the gay cowboy film, but the fact that they never allowed that in their presence and kind of went, no.
It's still, as much as it
It's a
became a
love story.
punchline, it still also did
Numbers.
bring it to, a bigger, wider audience.
Oh,
being accepting
100%.
of
But
that.
I just think the fact that they never shied away from it and never were apologetic or like, oh, haha, we made a gay cowboy film, but we're just like, be quiet and be respectful. This is auteurship. This is creativity. I love that film so much, Paul. It's so romantic.
2007, he starred in the critically acclaimed film thriller Zodiac. But he got frustrated with director David Fincher's methods. He's like really meticulous with some of the scenes. He would take upwards of 70 takes to try and get something. Drove him mad. Drove Robert Downey Jr.
Who's
mad.
David Fincher? What do I know him from?
He did Fight Club. He did Gone Girl.
Yeah, but
he
this
did
is the type of man who is a very detail-orientated person, and his stories are detail-orientated. So let the man do his job.
But Gyllenhaal's never worked with him since. I don't think Robert Downey Jr. did either. A lot of people work with him, and you either really, really like that, or you go, I'm not doing that again.
And
That's
then,
madness.
I now need to know, does Ben Affleck like him or not? And that will be our
Oh.
litmus test.
The 2010s didn't start great for the actor. That saw him taking on his first real big tentpole movie. He starred for Disney in the adaptation of the computer game Prince of Persia, which was supposed to be the next Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, except you can't have a white Swedish guy playing the Prince of Persia.
No.
You can't have that.
And I mean, even then it was a bit rum. Now you're like, that would never happen.
No.
It was a
shouldn't.
critical flop
And it was
a box
bad.
office disappointment. It's worse that it was bad.
It's worse that it was bad. You're right. It's like The Last Airbender, the original live action. It was worse that it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thus, the actor flung himself into the more serious, smaller roles for the next few years. He
Which is
starred
good.
in the great sci-fi film Source Code.
No.
I really like. Do you not like that?
I've not seen it.
Oh, it's great. It's like a little Twilight Zone
Oh, I
film.
love Twilight Zones.
Just small but great. Directed by Duncan Jones, who's David Bowie's son.
Oh, I like Moon.
Yeah, very much similar. That was
Yeah.
his follow-up film. The acclaimed cop drama, which you love, End of Watch.
It is an exceptional film, filmed all very documentary style, like vest cam, handy cam, dash cam. So believable, so real. Absolutely love that film. Tiny budget, beautifully executed.
And then he starred in 2 films in the same year from the then upcoming director, Denis Villeneuve. Obviously, he's a big star now,
obviously.
doing stuff.
Yeah.
But then the first one he did was the bizarre thriller Enemy. If you ever saw the trailers for it, it's the ones with the big giant spiders and stuff.
No.
Whilst the other saw Gyllenhaal star with Hugh Jackman in the devastating drama Prisoners. I can't. People keep telling me we need to watch that film. It's supposedly fantastic, but it's quite harrowing. I can't watch it. It
No.
involves abductions and
No.
stuff like that. I'm like, nope, can't do it. The next year, the actor lost £30 and ran 15 miles a day to play the role of news stringer Lou Bloom in the fantastic, in my opinion, thriller Nightcrawler. I loved the film Nightcrawler. I thought that was great.
Was it a comic book?
No.
Oh, I think I thought it was something else, and that's why I
No.
didn't watch it.
So that was the one where he plays the guy who basically they go about LA and they just film events and
Yeah.
then sell it to news
And
channels.
is he creating events to sell?
He eventually gets into the creating
No, I
events,
don't like that.
and it's bad. It does paint him as a bit of a psychopath.
Okay, and is it a true story?
No. So
Oh.
they created this. So the director Dan Gilroy's basically like, I see this guy's like wiry, he's like a cougar, and obviously Gyllenhaal took this to heart and basically lost all this weight and ran 15 miles a day to basically look that gaunt. The film, it made $50 million on an $8 million budget.
Oh,
It
congratulations.
was universally acclaimed. But in what many critics saw as a travesty, Gyllenhaal wasn't recognised by the Academy Awards for his performance.
Oh, that's a travesty.
Oh, in their world of the things, my
See,
God.
no, but see this like Oscar thing of like he should have, like Leonardo DiCaprio, he should have got his Oscar. Oh, shush, shut up.
2015 saw films like the boxing drama Southpaw.
No, awful.
It was awful. He trained as a boxer for 5 months, though. Put on as much muscle as weight that he'd lost for Nightcrawler. Then the actor put his all into it again for the 2017 film Stronger, where he played the real-life Jeff Bauman, who lost both his legs in the Boston Marathon bombings. Apparently, the actor really put his heart and soul into this one. Like,
Yeah.
worked with the real-life guy. It got great reviews.
But
Utter flop at the box office, and it looked like that was the kind of final straw for him. He's done interviews where he said he realised, I don't need to be or want to be so serious all the time. And it kind of correlated with a run that he did on Broadway that I'll talk about a bit later for tonight's song.
Okay.
He said that basically made him feel, oh, that's the best time I've had in my career,
was on Broadway.
where I realised I can just be free and easy and I don't need to be spending 5 months trying to get into this deep, dark character.
Yeah.
I can just have fun with this.
Yeah.
And that's probably shown in his films since. So none of them are like critically acclaimed or great. But he seems to be having fun. So he played a Chew the Scenery baddie in a Marvel Spider-Man movie. He was actually decent in it. The film was rubbish. He starred as a Chew the Scenery baddie in a Michael Bay film. That was Ambulance. Did a voice in a Disney cartoon, Strange World.
Okay.
Starred in a Guy Ritchie film. And then you might have seen him this year punching and kicking baddies aplenty, including MMA fighter Conor McGregor in the remake of the 80s classic Roadhouse.
Now, my favourite thing to come out of this was the news release I got sent from a friend that Conor McGregor had to be kept in a toilet because he kept, like, they had to just hold him in a toilet because when they were having the premiere for Roadhouse, he kept trying to, like, jump in the background of photos and like,
he can't
give Jake
control
Gyllenhaal
himself.
noogies. And they had to be like, this is real life work now. You need to get kept away. I'm not happy they remade this film, BTW.
So with another Guy Ritchie film supposedly on the way and another potential Broadway run in Othello on the cards,
Ooh.
it seems that Jake Gyllenhaal is content to have his beloved Greggs. Apparently, he loves a Greggs.
Oh,
He came out and said, I love filming in the UK. I just go and I
I'm
buy
just
a Greggs.
a relatable guy. I like
Yeah.
a steak bacon
And he'll wear his
hugging people.
favourite Pilford scarf, sit in the park and just take life as it comes.
I don't believe that for a second.
And that takes me to tonight's song and Jake Gyllenhaal's 2017 Broadway stint in the Stephen Sondheim musical Sunday in the Park with George. Playing the part of the pointillist painter,
Georges Seurat.
Georges Seurat.
Seurat.
Seurat, I don't know.
I do.
Seurat sounds funnier.
I did my higher essay on him.
Did you?
Yeah.
Do you like his art?
Le Barophilie Bergère. Love it.
The actor had only 6 weeks of rehearsal for the role.
Do you know George Seurat's the first person to paint ladies' boobies that weren't in a religious context?
Is that right?
Yeah, he painted just naked people at a picnic
Good on him.
with nothing else. Just
Also, where are these picnics? Anyway,
that's why I picked him as my painter in school.
yeah, so I mean, he was met with critical acclaim for it, but whilst he's known for ending things with a certain type of knitwear, will the actor also be good at finishing the hat?
Mademoiselle, you and me, pal. Second bottle, she looks for me. Bonnet flapping, yapping, rough, chicken, pastry. Yes, she looks for me. Good. Let her look for me to tell me why she left me, as I always knew she would. I had thought she understood. They have never understood, and no reason they should. But if anybody could, finishing the hat. How you have to finish the hat. How you watch the rest of the world from a window while you finish the hat. Mapping out a sky. What you feel like planning a sky. What you feel when voices that come through the window go until they distance and die, until there's nothing but sky. And how you're always turning back too late from the grass or the stick or the dog or the light. How the kind of woman willing to wait's not the kind that you want to find waiting to return you to the night. Dizzy from the height, coming from the hat, studying the hat, entering the world of the hat, reaching through the world of the hat like a window. Back to this one from that, studying a face, stepping back to look at a face, leaves a little space in the way like a window. But to see, it's the only way to see. And when the woman that you wanted goes, you can say to yourself, well, I give what I give. But the woman who won't wait for you knows that however you live, there's a part of you always standing by, mapping out the sky. Finishing a hat, starting on a hat, finishing a hat. Look, I made a hat. Where there never was a hat.
That was Jake Gyllenhaal, this week's Hollywood Swinger with Finishing the Hat. Before we continue anything, I need to tell you
Art
that
correction.
I've got mixed up between George Seurat and Manet. Manet painted the first boobies in a non-religious context. George Seurat just did points. But I wrote about both of them when I was 15 and I tried to pull that memory back to life, thus proving that the things you learn in high school have no impact.
No meaning whatsoever.
No meaning whatsoever. Right. That was Finishing the Hat with Jake Gyllenhaal. Not gonna lie, made me feel quite seasick and dizzy. It was too noisy and colourful. Now, here in the Ashley Storrie Show, we rank our Hollywood swingers on a scale of 1 to 100 Kenny Rogers roasters, 1 being the worst, 100 being the best. Paul, I'll come to you first. What is your score for this winter wear thief, Jake Gyllenhaal?
Going to explain to people the as quick as you can.
He stole Taylor Swift's scarf when she was 21. It's supposed to be fun, turning 22. She was just 21, turning 22. He was in his 30s. He was her boyfriend. He kept her like a secret. She kept him like an oath. And then he stole her scarf. And then she wrote a 10-minute song about it. Nobody paid that much attention. Then she re-recorded it. People really paid attention. And for a year, Jake Gyllenhaal's whole life was being called that guy who stole Taylor Swift's scarf.
Imagine being one of the best actors out.
Like, even his
You really,
nieces...
you Taylor Swift fans really ruin everything.
His nieces are Taylor Swift fans, and we're like literally on TikTok for the first time ever trying to get clout, being like, that's her uncle she's singing that song about, not her uncle's Jake Gyllenhaal. That's her uncle that Taylor Swift.
Poor guy, can't catch a break.
Oh, I'm sure his life must be so hard being royalty.
Wait a minute. Sorry, I'm allowed to show empathy for people regardless of their status in life.
That's if this was,
That guy's obviously got a better life than me as well.
Yes,
It's
he's
not
obviously
like
got a better life.
Yeah, I can still show empathy.
You'd never steal a scarf though, Paul. You'd give it back.
Oh, 100%.
He took it to his sister's
I would
house.
drive at least 4 hours to return this scarf.
Of course you would, because you're a good man. You're not like Jake Gyllenhaal.
Especially if there's a cold there, you know.
What's the score?
I'm gonna give him. That was decent. I don't like musicals like that.
No.
It wasn't very musical. It was one of those ones where it's like, oh,
It was Sondheimy.
but
And
he
then
was
I don't
solid
like
in
that.
it. I'm going to give him a 70.
I'm going to sing like this. I'm standing on the street. I see a man and there's a hat and I'm a cat.
But that's the musical. That's not him. He was asked to do that, and I feel he did it very well. I'm going to give it 70.
Yeah, he did a good job. I'm going to give it. He's got good musical voice. He could do I'm on the Street Where You Live. He could do those classic sort of.
Yeah, he could do. He
Musicals.
could do a lot of musicals.
Yeah, and I would buy it. So I'm going to give him like 85.
Oof, that's strong, especially for somebody that you have an inherent
89.
hatred for.
I'm going to give him 89. Yeah, I've decided. That's my score for him. Thank you so much. Get in touch via text 80295. Let us know your score for Jake Gyllenhaal, this week's Hollywood Swinger. Also, let us know, do you know who he is? Because my favourite thing week in, week out is hearing from you listeners going, I've never heard of that guy in my entire life, never seen a film he's in, don't know who he is.
I have big giant lists of Hollywood swingers, and then it's like I just show people it and I go, so here's this guy who's probably like one of the best actors for the last 20 years. Who's that?
Never heard
Who's
of him.
that? Never seen him in anything. It's like they've literally been in the biggest films for the past 20 years.
80295, or you can email us ashleystorieshow@bbc.co.uk, or you can WhatsApp us. What's that WhatsApp, Paul?
0805 92 95 00.
Oh yeah, it's coming up for 12 o'clock and there will be the midnight news, but before then we've got some more George Michael. Here he is